Hello and welcome back to the tutorial for History Year 2, Unit 2, Kings and Queens, and this is video part 2. This video will walk you through the following areas: how to adapt activities and lessons, how to plan for the inquiry question, and key moments within the unit to look out for. Adapting activities can be easily done by using the ebook workbook and the snipping tool to paste the activity onto a Word or published document and edit it. From there, you can print it and stick the adapted activity into your exercise book or directly over the workbook original activity. You may be familiar with the snip tool, but it can be found by searching in the search bar or simultaneously pressing Windows, Shift and S. Drag your mouse to highlight the area you want to copy, and that selection of your screen can be copied onto your clipboard and then onto your Word or Publisher document. This is the first workbook activity for Lesson 1. I'm going to run through the activities in the workbook from Lesson 1 to 6 and give suggestions on how you may adapt them. You don't have to use my examples or even adapt at all, but these are suggestions for ways in which you could. In this activity, pupils need to answer the question, can you think of someone powerful, and then draw them below. Ideally, pupils will also label their drawing. Support pupils by adding a silhouette for pupils to use as a starting point for drawing. And create labels such as king, prime minister, head teacher, etc. so pupils can select the ones that apply to their person and stick them in. As a challenge activity, ask pupils to write a sentence about who they chose and why. In Lesson 2, pupils need to number the events from the Battle of Hastings shown in the images, with 1 being the first event. Support pupils by partially completing the activity to give pupils more time to be successful. Underneath, pupils need to answer the question, was William a powerful monarch? Instead of ticking yes or no and why, you give pupils options to read and tick. You could give pupils keywords to circle as their answer instead. You could ask for a verbal response to write up yourself. As a challenge activity, you could ask pupils if they think King Harold was a powerful monarch and why. In Lesson 3, pupils need to match each question to the correct answer or answers. Support pupils by highlighting the key information in the text. You could partially complete the activity as a model and to allow pupils more time to be successful. And you could remove the amount of writing pupils need to do for the second activity so they can focus on 1 sentence instead of 3. As a challenge, ask pupils what King John should have done with his money instead of take it from the barons. In Lesson 4, pupils look at 2 portraits of Queen Elizabeth and answer the question, which portrait shows Elizabeth as a powerful ruler? Support pupils by asking pupils to list what they can see rather than just why. Circle the different things in the portraits you want pupils to focus on. And ask for a verbal response on why the portrait they chose makes Queen Elizabeth look more powerful and why. As a challenge, ask pupils what kind of ruler they think Queen Elizabeth might have been and why. In Lesson 5, pupils need to label the pictures by writing the correct name in each box. You can support pupils by partially completing the activity to allow pupils more time to complete it. You could print the labels for pupils to stick instead of draw. And you could give pupils the starting letter of the keyword. This could be for all or just for 1 or 2. As a challenge activity, ask pupils if they can write a sentence using as many of the keywords as possible. In Lesson 6, pupils learn about the monarchy today and need to list 3 things that King Charles does as the monarch. Support pupils by giving keywords for pupils to circle. You could reduce the amount pupils need to write by removing 1 or 2 lines. And you could print images to support ideas. Challenge pupils by asking them if they think King Charles does an important job or not, and why. To recap, every history unit has an inquiry question which the learning is centred around. The inquiry question for this unit is who was the most powerful British monarch, and the main disciplinary concept is continuity and change. to consider the changing power of the monarchy through analysing some key monarchs. To support teachers with implementing the inquiry question, we have created an inquiry question support document. Here you can find the information you will need and an additional activity for pupils to complete. This could support them as a planning activity, be a recap of the entire unit knowledge to refresh memories before the assessment, or be edited into the assessment itself. The inquiry question support document for this unit can be found with the other resources on Oxford OWL. We recommend before teaching the unit, you decide on how you want pupils to complete the inquiry question. This could be an extended write, a poster, a presentation, a question paper, a multiple choice quiz, or whatever best suits your class. For every unit, there are elements that will need to be planned in advance. You will need to print the knowledge quiz booklet for pupils and plan where you will keep them between lessons. This could be in a pile with you or slipped into the front of the workbooks. You'll need to plan an engaging hook. How will you get pupils interested and engaged in the learning to come? You may need to print off any additional resources per lesson, and you may need to gather resources for specific lessons using the unit planning guidance. Hopefully, you now feel confident about accessing and teaching this unit. Any questions, please send to primarymastery@curriculumplus.org.uk, and we welcome all feedback to ensure that these resources are as supportive as possible for you and your pupils.